Whether you already have studio policies or you're just starting out, it's a really good idea to review these annually. For example, you don't want clients finding mistakes, silly mistakes, within your registration documents. It just doesn't look great. At the same time, if you don't review them, you may be stuck with studio policies that you don't like or that you really wanted to change. I'm sharing 3 reasons why piano registration should be reviewed annually in your studio and how it's going to save you time and energy in the upcoming year. Be sure to watch to the end. I'm going to be sharing 3 resources that are going to make this process a lot easier for you. If we haven't met, I'm Rosemarie. I'm an online piano teacher, studio owner, and composer. When I started my studio 10 years ago, while I did think about my policies, I didn't realize just how important the registration process was going to be and that reviewing those policies every year was going to make my studio better. I used to have policies that would keep me from spending time with my family or being able to compose and do other things that I really enjoy. And while my clients loved me, they weren't exactly a fan of the lengthy registration process that they had to go through. And these were important lessons for me to learn as I went through the process of being a studio owner. Reason 1 why piano registration makes or breaks your upcoming year is that your personal life, ignoring it doesn't work. So you have to be honest with at least yourself. When you ignore your personal life and focus just on your work life, it creates a lot of tension. And if you focus only on your work life, then it creates a lot of tension in your personal life and with the relationships that you have. There's no point in burning out because you can't have a lasting studio or a lasting career as a teacher if you do that. So it's really important to make sure that you have hard conversations. Again, if these are hard conversations with yourself or really being honest as you're writing things down, or hard conversations with the rest of your family, then that's important. I'm going to be sharing a resource later that I actually share what this looks like for our family. An example of how ignoring your personal life versus your work life, and I know work-life balance can be a not popular term at times because what really is balance, but it is important to look at both aspects. For example, if you have, say, makeup lessons. As a travel teacher, back when I used to travel teach, for the longest time I had it that I would do in-person makeup lessons. This meant that I was driving to my students' homes potentially twice in 1 week to make up a lesson. For the most part, this hadn't been a problem, but one year we had a massive snowstorm that seemed to last over a month, and my kids were in preschool for only half days. This meant that some of my students, I didn't actually see them for a month because the roads were so bad, I could not get my kids dropped off at preschool and then to them and back in time to pick up my kids. This meant that I was really burnt out when I was done all those makeup lessons. So instead of doing something like that, by reviewing and going, you know what, these are the commitments or these are the priorities I have in my personal life, and how do my policies affect that? It's really important. Once I changed that makeup lesson policy, then it made my life a lot easier. Reason number 2, policies can't be one-sided. If your policies that you have in your studio are all about you and making things great for you, you're probably going to lose some clients. You might not be able to register new clients because the policies are such that they're thinking, why is this worth it? On the other hand, if your policies are all about your clients, chances are you're going to start resenting the time, energy, and effort that you need to put into the lessons versus whatever it is that you're getting paid for tuition. Having win-win solutions actually takes care of this. So it means that you've come up with solutions to whatever problems might be coming up in your studio or that might come up in the future, and thinking about what's the best solution for both of us. For example, my clients were talking about how they really wanted to pay by credit card. Now, my concern had been at the time, 1, I was going to have to pay fees, which meant that I was going to get less tuition. And my other concern had been if they pay late, then unlike the post-dated checks that I already was getting, I wasn't going to have that income in my bank. So here's the win-win solution that I came up with. My clients paid a month ahead of time, which meant that I never taught a lesson that hadn't already been paid for. And I increased my tuition for the next year so that it covered that increase that I was going to have to, take care of because of the credit card fees. Because of that, it meant that they could pay by credit card or even e-transfer, something they wanted, but it reduced the risk on my side, and it was a solution that I could be happy with. Looking at things like this, where your policies aren't one-sided and you're finding win-win solutions, means that everybody ends up happy in the end. Reason number 3, being organized and prepared equals professionalism. If you are not organized in your registration process, which is why you want to review this each year to make sure that you have everything that you need before that notice, before that email, text, whatever gets sent to your clients, because you've done that, you're not forgetting important parts of the registration, whether that's documents or things that you need to add to your policies. That creates more work for you. We don't want more work, right? We want this to feel perhaps not effortless, but certainly not like a chore. It also means that you're not giving your clients reasons to say no. It's something that I've noticed both in my own business, but also my personal life, that when companies make it hard or complicated, we just tend to go, you know what, we'll either put it off or we're just going to find someone else to do the job, because why deal with this? As a parent, the teachers at my kids' schools that were disorganized, they always waited longer for me to respond to emails that they sent or to get things that they needed. This is because I felt like they didn't value my time. And in return, it meant I didn't value theirs. So how does this affect things in your upcoming year? When your registration process is organized and streamlined, it means that your clients, they're not going to think it's reasonable to let you know last minute, oh, by the way, we're not having lesson in an hour. Especially as a travel teacher, that can be very annoying. It also means that they're going to give you more reasonable time frames because you've shown that you are reasonable in your requests and you're giving them a reasonable time frame to get back to you. When you do that, you're setting up those expectations. And so even though it's registration, you're setting the tone of what things are going to be like next year, what it's going to be like working with you. So let's quickly recap. What are the 3 reasons why piano registration matters? In particular, your registration and policies. 1, your personal and work life are linked. Whether you want that or not, it's just reality. 2, one-sided policies lead to frustration, both for you and your clients. 3, missing registration documents or parts of the process isn't professional. And chasing after what you need for your studio registration isn't ideal either. As promised, here are 3 resources that will help you in terms of the why piano registration should be reviewed annually, including some tips to help you do this. The first resource is Why Piano Registration Matters in the Upcoming Year. This is the companion article to this video. It goes into more details and it shares a little bit of how we handle this in our family and how I handle this in my studio. 2, if you're wanting one-on-one coaching or one-on-one help with this, be sure to check the description below. I can absolutely help you with this. We can review your registration process to see how we can streamline it. We can review your policies to make sure that you have those win-win solutions. And if you're feeling like that work-life balance, that it's heavily skewed one way or the other and you want to change that, we can talk about that and I can give you some suggestions as well. The third resource is actually coming out on Thursday, if you're watching this the day this comes out. It's a YouTube short on why work life matters, especially when it comes to your why when it comes to piano registration. And the why is the important thing. That's actually what we're focusing on right now. When we know our why we're going to review annually, why we're going to make the decisions we make, everything else starts falling into place. You're not going to want to miss out on this series on studio registration. Next video, we're going to be looking at the essential things that you need to include in your studio registration. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out.